Hi, everybody. Coach John here. I have a vision for my life and an affirmation for my life. I'm on a journey of living with joy and help making the world a better place. Welcome to my podcast. Glad to have you here today. I'd like to turn things over here to my guest. Brandon, tell folks a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, right now, my name is Brandon Elwell, and my channel name is Nerdy Shorts. Uh, I specialize in comedy, streaming, and even a little bit of stand-up and comedy and things like that. And I'm going to be producing comedy and content, kind of based around like pop culture, nerd culture, things like that, and just kind of giving some more irreverent and relatable content to have everybody go on through, especially for us Zennials or millennials, things of that nature, where, I look at this and I treat pop culture a little bit kind of like the way that it is and the way that it's developed and blown up. And this, I treat it kind of like Bane treats the darkness in the Dark Knight Returns. Oh, you merely know the dark. I was forged in it, born by it. I was forged in the spaces of my space, and gets in little and the beginnings of Instagram and cat videos. Oh, you think you know it?
It's so fun. What led you into that? Tell me a little bit about how you got started into that and what brought you here.
Well, I for many years, I had been trying to work my way as into stand-up comedy, and but the funny thing is that when you're in stand-up, you got to do as many sets as you can. You got to perform, and you got to perform wherever. I was finding myself performing in places like, bars and things, and you could get your laughs and you could get your audience. But I found myself just I was a little disconnected from it. I kind of wanted to go into the clubs and into a lot of the things where you could get genuine reactions from audiences and kind of get that good feedback. But I always felt a bit of a disconnected to those kind of venues. Um, I had gone to Denver and a few places to try to get started, and just never clicked. I ended up having to come back, take care of a few things here in Montana at home when I was out in Denver. And I was like, I got to a point, and when you're in Montana, when you're a little bit more remote, you're kind of like, it's not like when you're in Denver or somewhere where there's a lot of places for you to perform. The places getting, if you didn't like performing in a bar before, yeah. So I was like, where can I so streaming just kind of fell into my lap in content. And I had been given the name, and everything was kind of a little bit of an inspiration from many years ago. And I can go a little bit further into that part, but I mean, for the most part, for where I got that from is needing an outlet for my comedy that I could really relate to. And that's kind of what brought me into streaming. And it's kind of been growing in unexpected ways.
Very cool. Can you name something in how it's grown unexpectedly?
Well, absolutely. So for me, when I got it started in August. And I was going to try to do a little few variety games and things like that. And then there was, all of a sudden, and I was doing like a few scary games and reactions. That's kind of his customary, your standard. So you're like, ah. And honestly, I had some comedy gold come out of those ones. Uh, but there was an old game that I used to play pretty regularly, an old desktop card game that got a computer version called Master Duel for Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's pretty niche. So I did not expect, but all of a sudden, every time I kept doing that stream, it became more and more like on my other streams, I'd get two or maybe one or two, maybe three folks watching. I'd do Yu-Gi, and all of a sudden I've got 10 to 20. And I'm gaining, like at first there I was gaining like maybe 10 followers a week or something. And like I was getting one or two followers a week from that, and then like 8 or 9 from. So it's kind of developed. I kind of want to center it back towards that, but that's been kind of unexpected. I go over at kind of a small niche audience, and all of a sudden everybody's kind of enjoying it. So that's kind of where I'm at and where it's been kind of growing at this point. And I've only been after it for the streaming aspect. I've been going for about like since August. So it's relatively new.
Pretty cool. So when people walk away after spending time with you, what do you hope they understand about you or what you care about?
My streams, the things that and maybe this might even be what connects to what connects to Yugi is there's so many places and communities that have like their unknown, their standards or how they want to view things or a little bit more harsh. Like out there, in the game itself, it's got a ranked mode that is just got the same old thing. What I try to bring in is inclusivity. Everybody can come in, everybody's welcome, no matter what. And that's what I always try to have in there. Everybody's welcome, everybody can come in, everybody can have a good time, and you can play and enjoy however you want. That's my biggest thing. I want to be able to build a community to where, yeah, we have an understanding and we have fun with pop culture and nerd, and we can have some irreverence, but most importantly, it's a place where everybody can come in, feel safe, and enjoy and escape the world for a little bit. I want it to be a place of like connectivity, enjoyment, and just having fun.
I love that. And I really believe in affirmations. So can I take a little bit of that and try to give you an affirmation that might work for you?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, that last little part that you shared and run it back and recraft it the way you want to after hearing this podcast once it's released. But I'm hearing something like, I'm on the journey of creating a community where people feel safe, where they have a chance to let down their problems for a while and really just recharged for getting back out there. Does that sound like nice?
Yeah, that would be amazing. Absolutely.
Awesome. And I really like that idea of saying I'm on a journey of up front because that way you can believe that. Like I might not believe I'm a millionaire right now and say I'm a millionaire, but I can say I'm on the journey of becoming a millionaire. And so if there's any part of your journey or someone else's journey that's listening to this, you can create an affirmation for yourself with putting I'm on the journey of up in front of it and going from there. So I encourage you, you can play with the different things you just shared with me and make probably at least 2, if not more, affirmations out there that would help you.
That's been where and the journey, because that's where my kind of a struggle or my own mindset kind of gets in the way, is because everything is so new in what I'm doing. This is the first time that like I look over and I'm like, I've made some money in comedy. But it's only been pretty minor, little bits and pieces here. But I'm like, for my streaming and for things out here, I'm looking to be able to go full time in a place that I've never done. Like it's all literally on me. There's no W-2s, there's no paycheck, there's no regularity. This is me and putting this one up there. So that's sometimes where I have my struggle. Having that be towards my the journey aspect of it, like because everything is so new. I have no idea what progress is. I have no idea. So I just know what my end goal is, and so saying my end goal is to make this my full-time career, something that can be sustainable, supportable for me and my family, and that's what the important thing is. And that's kind of where I'm my whole life I've gotten it from a regular paycheck, not 9 to 5, but just regular paycheck from somebody else. So that getting into that journey is where my struggle has been.
I appreciate that. And that might be something to add to your affirmations. I'm on a journey of making this a full-time thing. And that way there's joy along the way, right? It's not just joy when I get there, which I think traditionally when people set a vision, it's something out in the future. 10 years from now, when I have that great job, but where's the happiness in between time? And where's the progress in between time, as you were pointing to? So yeah, I'm on the journey of is what I coach people to say, not to say, but how to set themselves up for success and joy, that
Mhm.
Instead of this vision down the future, it's a vision that I'm living into right now. Hence, I'm on the journey of. So maybe that'll help you with what you're trying to build.
Yeah, I think so. That's already been a like even just thinking about saying, I'm on this journey kind of helps take a little bit of a breather. So, uh, so yeah, that helps.
Wonderful. Well, let's talk about why you want this. How is this vision important to you to make your life better, and how do you envision it making the world better?
It's always been my gift to be able to make people laugh. And like my heroes in life were like Robin Williams, Jim Carrey. Um, these are the folks that I looked up to and I idolized. But I've always had a gift. That's how I was really deal with things as I was growing up. Was was my being able to make folks laugh, being able to help folks, and so as I was growing up, socially, sometimes I would be a little bit awkward, but the one way I could get to connect, even for just a moment, was to get to people laugh. And it was, using my mind, using my wit, and using things around to kind of bring some levity. And it's been, you have that unconscious gift. And I think Steve Harvey there was Steve Harvey I love a lot of his inspirational things. And one of the things is he goes, if you are not living in your gift, you're going to be miserable. And trying to make your way out in the corporate world and everything else, uh, that's got its limits. But I've always wanted to be able to make my career in comedy and everything. I was a little bit limited by my location at the time, but um, it's something I've always yearned for and wanted to do. It's like you've got that purpose. You've got something that you know that you do well, that you feel that calling. And that's what's always gripped. I've always been able to make folks laugh. As I was growing up, it was, like it was both my defense mechanism, but it was also my acceptance way. Because I was always a little bit on the outside looking in for a lot of like popular stuff and things like that in school, as most kids are, I think, one way or another. But even as I've been growing up, it's something that if you have something in life that no matter what you do, something just steers you back. It just, no matter what you do, whoop, if something just can't, and no matter what I would do, no matter where I would go, people would say, hey, you should. So it always would steer me back. And making people laugh and really kind of enjoying and escaping life for a little bit, that's part of it, has been a great thing for me. And it's been one of my hardest lessons is for me, because it is enjoyment for me, is to be like, it's okay for me to ask to make a living with that, to charge, to ask for that I be repaid in kind. That's when, because I've always given it so out there. That's been the hardest part, is learning that one back in. And I would just want to. My biggest thing in life is that, especially as I've gotten older, I have learned you're not going to escape everything in life forever. But if I can, for just a little bit of time, give people a respite, something to remember, and a laughter they can hold on to, that's what I want to hold on. That's what I really want to get out there.
I appreciate that. That's really powerful. And I think you said it's okay to thought partner through this, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, please.
Hey, so I just want to make sure people hear that, hey, no, I'm not just jumping in your business, but you offer, you're good with a thought partner on this. And so, I heard you say, I want a connection, right? My life will be better connection, and the world will be better because people get some respite in a world that can be challenging sometimes, can be dark sometimes, can be lonely sometimes. I mean, I'm throwing my side of it on now, I believe, but hearing you say I want to give people respite, right? And I'm just embellishing on what that might be for.
Mm-hmm.
And the very real like journey as some of us have of making a passion like this our full-time gig when the world tells us we're supposed to go to work for someone else so often it seems like we're supposed to go do this, we're supposed to go do that. And so I think that's a very human thing to be able to recognize and work with, learning to give ourselves permission. And that might be part of your
Mhm.
affirmation sequence as well. I'm on a journey of learning to give myself permission, or just I'm learning. That's another way of bridging that, right? I'm learning to give myself permission. I'm learning to open up this world for me. So if that's a fit for you, I invite you to take that and run with it.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that insight. Yeah, I mean that's yeah, giving folks a respite and giving folks just a little bit of an escape of joy, a smile, a laugh in a world that takes so much of that away.
Totally.
Uh, another thing I would like to do is something that I've seen, and I don't know. Have you had Bryant on here yet?
Not yet. I owe him an invite to get on here. Hey, brother, get on here.
And you know what? You need to give him a hard time on that a little bit because he was like, he posted up on Signal. He's like, all right, everybody, mandatory podcast. It's like, all right, B, we're all right, B, we can do that, man. But give him a ring on that one. Be like, hey, B, where you at?
For those who don't know, Brian is a mentor that we share in common. And so I think he gave himself the deadline. I'll just need to remind him, hey, you said by February for
sometimes you kind of gotta, get after him a little bit.
I appreciate that encouragement. I'll have to get on.
Absolutely. But in a very similar vein, he got started in a lot of things in social media, in bringing his own unique perspective and things to what folks, especially at the time, it's a little bit more inclusive now, but with like gaming and kind of geek culture and things like that, there are so many people that feel that because they enjoy certain aspects of pop culture, things that are out there, that they feel a little bit of like ostracized. And I kind of want to bring that together. That's one of the biggest things that I want to be able to do. Is like I went through so much of my own life enjoying the things that I did, but also kind of having to keep that to the outside, kind of have to be like, because if you wanted to be somewhat accepted, if you wanted to make it, you were told, hey, you can't, if you want to have a date, you better not like a video game, or there's the stigma that all they do is like either they'll play a game or they're watching a TV show. I think it's abated a little bit on that, but I think it's still kind of that stigma. It's like, I think you must have balance in all things, but there should be you should enjoy the things that you enjoy and have a community that enjoys it with you, and that you don't have to feel like you have to hide it or anything like that. That's one of my biggest goals, is to have folks in pop culture who enjoy whatever aspect it may be, that you enjoy it. And no matter what, you have a place where you can come in, express that and feel that and be accepted for it.
I love that. And something that came to me as you were talking about that is the idea of Simon Sinek's infinite game. And maybe it's going back a little bit to your point about giving yourself permission to do this full time. And what was coming to me was the idea that, to me, I'm finding it more and more helpful that it's not always going to be business as usual, right? We may be comfortable in what appears to be the rules, comfortable and appears to be the agreed upon way, but no, it's going to change. Whether it's like my dad passed about 4 years ago, right? That wasn't part of the program, but it changed the game, right? Or one of my universities I've attended for a couple classes, and even though I didn't get my degree there, I loved, but they had to go out of business, right? And different things change the rules, change the game, whether it's a person acting on it or a force of nature or what. And so for us to not get too complacent in, oh, well, these are what the rules are, this is what the agreement is, there's opportunity there for something to change things, or things are going to change. So why not program in our dreams as part of that change? So that came to me as you were talking.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. And I very much appreciate the being in that part of like the thought partner. and things like that. I appreciate that. I think so often, and that's one thing I would encourage anybody who would listen is that if you can find a way to bring somebody else in, and somebody like John, especially, that can give you a fresh perspective. We get so much in our own heads, and sometimes we need somebody to kind of clear out the cobwebs, shake it out a little bit, and help us get some fresh perspective.
Thank you. I think we all need that. I need that too. Like, we have talked about the mentor we share in common, and I've got other mentors too. And so I so agree. And that's what you described is so much a part of how I work. I don't work from an idea of I know everything I'm going to tell you now. More, hey, here's my journey as an open book. If something here blesses you or helps you, great, please run with it. And sometimes just good questions helping us see what's inside. Because I often flip this around, but from the Invictus poem, I'm the master of my fate, the captain of my soul, or flip it, scratch that, reverse that is we have in the not Harry Potter, but the Willy Wonka series. That we have this inside, we have this wisdom inside. So sometimes just that thought partner, as you were saying, and great reflection, that can help us along the way.
Well, I remember this is something we had talked about on Signal, but it's not very often you see something on a commercial, especially something that hits you. Like there's that Honda commercial where it goes, you have the journey, and I don't want to do it a disservice by trying to quote it without knowing it fully, but you have this one where they go this journey of like, you're not going to know me. You don't see my name. You don't know who I am. I am ready to give up. And then you see the reverse. And when and it feels like that's just the human journey. You feel so downtrodden. Then you hit that pivot, and then it comes right back up, and everything kind of reverses itself. I thought we were talking about that. I thought that is such a beautiful analogy and an outlook on, you see the journey one side, and then the instant you say, not today. Today is the day I give up, but not today. And it's not today. Today is not the day I give up. And everything else kind of comes up from there.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I want to ask you about focus. What might you count as a win right now? Or a lesson for right now in this phase that you're in? What's a way that you can say, hey, here's something I'm learning, or here's some way that I know I'm taking a step forward?
I mean, this would be, well, number one is to accept success. To know when to step forward. For those who may not have the belief, I'm very much a believer in God and the journey that He shows you on there. And for me, it's when the doors are closed, when it closes the door and you try to push it open, there's a difference. A lot of times we take the thought of like working through the adversity of trying to open a door that is being held back for a reason. There's a reason. It's this is not for you. This is not, you butt your head against it. But then when you find something that really kind of clicks and all of a sudden it opens up, it's almost harder to accept that. That would be the thing that I would say has been the aspect of my journey, is seeing the success and how it's coming, accepting it and working with it. And then being able to look at it and go, you know what? This is working, now all of a sudden this is succeeding. This is how it's coming into a flow, and it happens very, very naturally. And expecting things as the universe just kind of goes, okay, and gives you that gentle nudge, and everything as it's pushing forward goes, here you go. This is where it's, and accepting that and not being like, well, but this isn't the way I planned it. This isn't the way I thought. And trying to like force in, and it's okay. Just go. Accepting that success has been a part of it. Seeing what you want to do, and then and being open to and I would say more than anything, it's fluidity. As things come, as you experience them, the the world and the universe and God are going to show you certain ways and certain things to go. Now, if it doesn't necessarily, if it's counterintuitive to what you're thinking, it's not necessarily going to go. You're like, but I want to do it this way. Let me make it easier for you. But I like the struggle.
I love that. And something that you may like, and I can share it with you after if you want, and to anyone's listening, I created a guidebook, if you will. There's no charge for it right now. And it has a chart in there where you can track those wins. So that might be something for you as you find these little successes. You can write it down, and that gives you time to absorb them. You can put it on a wall if you want, or a desk space that you're always at or something. And just writing those down. Our common mentor, Bryant Chambers, talks about a win, and I grew from there the idea of Wednesday. So every Wednesday is a Wednesday. Yeah. So at least on Wednesdays, writing something down. So I've shared that with my community, my clients, as well as making this checklist. So when I can send that to you afterwards.
I would love that, because I do think that is something I would I love to do that. That's been knowing that, yeah, that would be huge. I would love that, to where you have something where you can write that journal down in a good little structure. Love it.
Awesome. It's yours, my friend. So earlier you talked about, how do I know progress going forward? And I know from our common mentor, we often talk about monthly goals. And something I've woven with that for my community and clients is the idea of win or learn, which I believe I mentioned earlier. That first, backing up a little more, I take that idea of a vision as something we're living into right now, as opposed to some point into the future. Connected to that, this idea of having goals that is future oriented. However, to do it with some grace for yourself, to take that win or learn attitude. So my goal this month might be to be on 5 stages. And if I don't make it, I had the ability to make progress on the way. I'm often going to make some kind of progress on the way, even if I learn that's not the right goal for me. Even if I don't make it on any stages, I may learn more about how to do that. So it gives myself grace that, okay, if I can honestly look and say I applied myself to this goal, then I'm doing the right things, as opposed to whether or not I made the goal. So I think that's an important piece. And then to get good feedback, like a mentor like Bryant or a thought partner like me might be able to say, hey, 5 goals, that was a great goal. However, let's look at the reflection. If you just started today and you didn't get on any stages, that's pretty common, right? So to be able to get some feedback from someone, either that's the journey that you want or has the experience in the industry that you'd like, that they could give you some feedback that maybe you don't know. And so you might otherwise be more tempted to beat yourself up for a goal that you said and didn't hit, when in reality, wow, actually you did pretty good, kid. You actually made some progress, even though you might not have realized that. So in terms of what you said, I encourage you to maybe try to set those goals like our common mentor does, but then also say, hey, can someone give me an honest reflection about this? And then what can I learn from whether or not I made the goal? What can I learn from the journey?
And that's, there's so many things that you brought in there that I kind of wanted to touch. Like, number one, setting your goals. It was Bruce Lee who said, aim for the stars, because even if you miss, you will still find the moon. And I was like, that is so much the truth. You do want to keep your goals relatively, it's like, for me, going in there and being like, you know what, I want to go in there, I want to be a swimsuit model. The ship may have passed, or coming in there like, I'm 44 and I said, you know what I want to do? I want to go in there and see if I can't try out for the NFL. Well, that ship never hit me for me on that one. Be like, but keeping your goals realistic, but at the same time, shoot for the best, for the higher ones. And there's nothing wrong with that. And but that way, and it's that ability to reframe. You come in and you didn't get there. Okay, I didn't get there. So how do I get there for next month? All right. If you can see it, if you can conceptualize it and be able to reach for it, I think that is perfect. And you had mentioned with the mentors, and one thing I would tell folks, and I would say is, this is the thing that I am the most guilty of. To take on this lone wolf mentality on your journey, thinking that I have to struggle, I have to do these things, I have to learn it, and I that's something that I struggle with, is bringing other folks into the journey, and it's not. I would like to say for the most part, it's not due to arrogance. It's more due to like wanting to make sure that I learn it there and not wanting to throw that out to other people and not wanting to be that burden on. But I would encourage everybody. The most success I have found is when you bring others into what you're doing and getting that feedback. Because there's so often we miss that perspective.
I so appreciate that. I heard a guy named Phil Hamburg, and if you're listening, Phil, maybe come on the show. I'd be honored to have you. But I'll always remember something he shared. It was something like the U.S. SEALs, one of the toughest groups in the world. The quickest way to wash out is to not ask for help. And I thought, wow, if the toughest group in the world makes a practice of asking for help, by golly, we should be doing that, right? And connected to that, or maybe more directly connected to what you said, I think it's Jim Rohn that talked about how we're the product of the 5 people that we spend the most time around. And for me, I went from there, and I think I maybe went a slightly different direction. And that's not attacking his original idea. Just I think I put a fresh spin on it a little bit in that, or to add to it, to the idea of that finding 5 people who really believe in our vision, because not everybody is in line with our vision. They may love us, but they might not be in line with our vision. Like my dad, rest his soul, wasn't a huge fan of my vision to be an actor. I mean, it sounds great, but kid, you need to be able to pay your bills. You need insurance benefits and so forth. And so in that chapter where I was pursuing that vision of acting, there were other people that were more supportive of that vision that maybe I needed to tap into more. And so the idea is, hey, if I can connect with these 5 people who are most in line with my vision, number one, I get some reassurance, some reinforcement around that vision. And number two, I get some great friends, or nurturing relationships that are important to me. And number three, there's a little more accountability for me too, because if they're in line with me being on a health journey and they're showing up to the gym and I don't show up, hey John, where are you? What's going on?
Yep,
right.
That's truth.
You said you were going to go on 5 auditions this month. How's that going? Let me know. Check in. So I think there's a lot of power in just building those relationships for the sake of the relationships, but also the alignment and reinforcement and foundation it gives you for what you're trying to pursue. And you could be that for them as well, potentially. So I had to encourage those 5 people in our lives.
Yes. I couldn't agree more. That is having 5 people aligned. It's, 5 are the 5 people that you hang around with the most. Agreed. But if you have people around you that both, they know your journey, they lift you up, it makes you more driven to succeed towards it. Also, your accountability is there. It's like, hey, these folks are looking at me. I don't want to let them down. That's been my biggest thing, is that I have been working through some of this stuff in my own therapy, but I am much more willing to let myself down than I am to let down a commitment to somebody else. And but if you have that commitment to somebody else, it can kind of reinforce that and give you that self-pride that kind of works in there. And in that same note, with what you were talking about, I think another thing that's really important is learning to let go and acceptance. There are some parts, like lately, in my other career that I've been doing full time, I had to come to an acceptance that my journey there, as much as I've enjoyed it, has run its course. As much as I enjoy it and I enjoy the people, but there's that comfortability that's there as well. And it's going, you might be comfortable, you might have a lot of things that are there, but bottom line, your time, and being able to accept that, being able to see that and say, and to let that go, I think there's a difference between quitting and acceptance. I think, and letting go. If you see a place where you're like, and you're not growing, and you're not getting where you need to be and doing the things you need to be doing, accepting that and letting it go is not quitting. It's just accepting that that's not where you're meant to be in life. And it doesn't mean you haven't learned from it. It doesn't mean you haven't gained, but it also means that it's time to let somebody else step into that journey. Your time there has passed.
That's beautiful. And it reminds me of something going back to focus. How do I know where I'm going? How do I know what to do next? And that master my fate, captain my soul piece. And a question that I took out of the idea of the One Thing book, taking that question, and I think this is my own spin on it, but if it's the books, it's the books. Either way, I think you'll enjoy the book, people listening. What's one of the most important things I can do right now? And so it might lead you to something you just said, in the moment. I might realize this is not the journey for me anymore. It's time to let someone else take it. Or it might be, wow, for this next week, I really need to try, looking for a stage to be on before I set a goal of 5 stages to be on. And so I love that as a guiding question in any given moment, at the beginning of the week. What's one of the most important things? And not the most important, because if you're a recovering perfectionist like me, you might, well, I'm spending all this time trying to find the most important thing. Don't just find a important thing. So, well, Brett, this has been an amazing conversation. I hope this conversation has blessed you at least half as much as it's blessed me. As we wrap up, can you tell people how to find you?
So, where to find me at the moment? So I'm primarily streaming on Twitch at the moment. I'm looking at creating some more content and moving into moving to a few other games. But I'm at Nerdy Shorts, NERDISHORTS. That's where you'd find me on Twitch. And the best thing is, I was lucky enough, and I did enough research to find where I could get my name. I'm universal across all platforms. So you can find me on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram, all via there. I've got some good clips that are up. I'm going to have some more in the future. And I'm looking very forward to, if some folks want to see there and be a part of the journey. And heck, you can sometimes just watch me flounder around a little bit. So.
Well, Brandon, thank you so much. For folks watching, I hope you check out Brandon and his channels, at least on Twitch, if not the other spots. Great guy. Love you, Brandon. And folks, I'm on a journey again of living a good life, helping other people do the same. This year especially, I'm looking at joy as part of a good life. And I can't wait to share more content with you, so I hope you'll continue to tune in. Thanks a lot, friends. Have a great day.